Hi, I'm the Warrior Witch, and you can call me Nike. Let's talk today about cleansing. So I've talked about some mundane ways to cleanse before in my video titled Cleansing Doesn't Have to Be Hard, but today I want to talk about some of the magical tips. Now granted, the mundane cleansing does have to come first, so if you don't know how to do that or what methods you might prefer, go watch that video here and then come back here and follow along with this one. Now, obviously, this is going to depend on your tradition, on your preferred methods. Some of it may even depend on if you have pets, or if you have limited space, or if you're living with other people. So keep in mind that there's not going to be one singular way, but there's a lot of really common ways across multiple traditions. So we can actually go by element for this one, generally. Let's start with water. So there's a couple ways that you can incorporate water into your cleansing process, and this includes things like floor washes, baths or showers, general like washing yourself, or using magical or blessed waters to cleanse things. One really simple way is through running water. If you have an item that can be cleansed using water, and by that I mean if it is generally safe to put in water, like a plastic cup or glass or things like that, you can do that. Traditionally, it would be like rivers or the ocean, which are great if you have access to them, but not everyone's going to have access to, say, a running stream. So the running water in your house can work just fine, especially if you know it's clean and drinkable, and that's part of why showers and things like that are a helpful part in the cleansing process. When it comes to floor washes and baths and showers, I recommend having something that is also typically herbal infused. So you're mixing in some of the elements here, earth and water together. So you might throw some herbs in a big tea bag or like a cheesecloth that's tied up that you can put in there, and then you can use that water to magically cleanse yourself, and then you could also wash it off afterwards with the regular methods. This could be like special bath bombs. This could be maybe something that you hang over the shower head that the water will run through first. Or when it comes to floor washes, this could be things that you include in the actual water of the floor wash to help with that process. And this could even include household cleaning products that happen to have the right correspondences, like lemon washing products. Lemon is a great cleanser, and if you have lemon scented products, you already have a cleansing correspondence automatically thrown in. Now, if your things can't be cleansed with water, do not fear, there are other ways to do it. Since we've already talked about earth, let's move on to earth. A really easy thing that is generally safe for most items is actually burying things in the dirt. The earth has very natural ways of washing away any negative energy, just how the rain comes down and soaks it in. So too can you do this with your objects. So if you have, say, some crystals or, something like that that needs to be cleansed, you could bury that in some dirt, leave it for a few days, maybe overnight on, say, the new moon, and that could be your cleansing process for that. Now, if you have something that you don't necessarily want to get dirty, like a candle or things like that, for the third section, I'm kind of combining fire and air together because it's kind of hard to cleanse things in fire and still have that object because typically it's going to be burned or burnt up. So they sort of go together. Fire and air. Typically, this means smoke cleansing. So for smoke cleansing, this is the one that most people are probably familiar with. These are bundles of herbs that you would light on fire, and then as they smolder and burn, they let off a lot of smoke, and you can bring that smoke around a room, a space, an object, whatever, and use that to cleanse an object. Now, this doesn't just have to be in bundles that you burn. This could also be using incense. I really like incense sticks to use for cleansing if you don't necessarily want a bundle, because incense generally gives off a little bit less smoke. When you're done with it, it's a little easier to put out because you can just break off the burning coal at the end and then it's done smoking. And it's a little bit easier to sort of wrap around objects. So I'll have my incense stick and an object, and I'll use the incense stick to go around the object or go underneath or all around. Sometimes inside of jars is nice. So if you have the opening, you can put the incense stick inside and just twirl it around, and the smoke can get in there and work its magic. Now, to officially fit into the air category is the last one, and that's sound cleansing. I don't do a lot of sound cleansing myself just because I have other methods that I prefer, but I know that lots of people have great success with it. This could be with bells, or with singing bowls, or even to a certain extent with music. And the other way that I incorporate air is actually literally in fresh air. Now, in my mundane cleansing video, I actually talk about how I will open the windows while I'm cleaning to let in the physical air. It helps to move around some stagnant air, especially during some of the cold months. This can be kind of hard, especially where I live, where it's really cold and you don't want to open the windows. I might just do it for a brief moment. Open, shut, that's all, just to get a little bit of something in, especially if it's a windy day. But having the literal fresh air coming in to move things around, to start things up, to get things more agitated, to help move things along, can be a great assistant. There's also a few other methods that don't really have a set category in my mind, although it may to you guys. And there's a few ways you can use certain crystals. There's things like salt baths, where you could stick something literally in a batch of salt or on top of salt and have that be the way that you cleanse things. This is great for crystals or things that you don't want to get so dirty. Set it on top of a little pile of salt, and then when you're ready for it again, a couple hours, overnight, whatever, take it off. The other way is using sunlight and moonlight, so using light. This is the only one that I urge a little bit of caution with, because things like certain crystals are light sensitive, so if you leave them out in the sun, they might get bleached or something might happen to them. Or with things that might be heat sensitive during the hotter months, leaving them outside in the sun, like a candle, might melt your candle, and we don't want that. So just make sure that whatever method you're using, like if you're using light, is just going to be appropriate. Now the other way is really common, accessible all year for the most part. If you have a window that will face where the moon will be, you can set things out in your windowsill and have the moonlight hit them, and that can be a cleansing method as well. Now, my personal favorite method for cleansing from start to finish includes some of the stuff that I did in my mundane cleansing video and some of the things that I mentioned here, but my full process basically looks like this. Typically, I'll turn on some music to get myself in the proper mood. I will clean up my space physically, so if it's, say, my room, for example, clean up all the clothes off the floor, take any dishes that are out of here, take out the trash. Maybe I'll even vacuum. Vacuuming's a great way, especially if you have carpet. And that's what I have, so I'll vacuum the carpet. I'll pick the entire room up and organize it. Then, if it's during a warm month, I'll completely leave the window wide open. If it's a cold month, I'll just open it briefly and then shut it again, because it's really cold here. So I'll open the window for some amount of time. And then is when I go in with the magical methods. So typically the music is one way to help. It helps clear the air, get the energy moving. And then I really like doing smoke cleansing. So I'll grab my herb bundle that I like to burn. And currently that's this stubby little guy. I've been using it a lot recently and it burns pretty fast. This one is mainly made out of garden sage, mullein, and lavender, which are all cleansing herbs. I really like using them, and there's a little bit of protection added on top, so it helps me with doing my protections afterwards. And then once my smoke cleansing is all done, typically if my window is open during a warm month, that's when I'll close the window. And if it's during a cooler month, I might, say, wipe down the windows with maybe a magical wash. After all that's done, I usually like to take a bath or a shower, typically a shower because it makes me feel cleaner, and that just helps any of the remaining gunk get off of me that I might have picked up from my space during the time that I was cleansing. Hello, sir. Come here. Come here. Oh, hi, baby. Did you want to be part of the video? Hi. So yeah, that's my cleansing method. I have a way that I enjoy that I have developed over time. Typically, you'll change it up a little bit and it may change with your practice, or you may have something that you started from the very beginning with and it's just stayed with you the entire time. Goodbye. The only way to know what you like is to experiment. So experiment, try different things. If you have one method that you like, but perhaps you're thinking about another, try that one for a week or so. I will mix it up sometimes. I know that I in the past have done the salt bath where I set things on top of a pile of salt. I have buried things in the earth. I like the running water method. I just find that smoke bundles and smoke cleansing in general is typically what I gravitate towards the most. And as always, keep in mind, every practice will have its own methods. I'm sure that there are things that I didn't cover here that I am totally missing. These are just the ones that are really common for me and the ones that I see around my friends' practices, traditions that I'm familiar with, and the internet at large. These are the commonalities that you'll find. So if you're really struggling for a place to start, this would be a great way. If you're not already subscribed, you should subscribe to me. I'm very cool. I put out witchcraft content every week or every other week, depending on life circumstances. And I also have social media. I'll put it down here. You should follow me. I have a Patreon where if you're a patron, you get this stuff earlier than everybody else, and $10 patrons get exclusive content sometimes, because that's pretty cool. And that's all I've got. So, see you guys next time, and blessed be.